Okay, welcome to another episode of the BritCaveBlitz, the podcast that you can follow on social medias at BritCaveBlitz. I am here as Smit, which is at SkyDaddySmit on Instagram and Instagram only. Unfortunately, I'm alone this week, so we'll probably go through these things quite quick. I'm just realising that I've not double checked what news we were going to talk about originally, so let me just do that quickly now. Okay, so yeah, we got Michael Penix having a season-ending injury, so we're having freaking Kirk O'Chains back at the helm. Not great for a team who is, I don't know if they're just struggling. Yeah, they're struggling and they just can't put shit together. So yeah, not great. Tyrod Taylor starting for the Jets, and Shedeur Sanders starting for the Browns. So there's that. And then, week 12, bye week, we've got Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers, and the Washington Commanders. 4 teams under bye week. I think we've got this week, week 14 is the last bye week. Have we got anybody on bye on week 13? Nope, so nobody on bye next week. Then the week after is the final byes. Sweet. Okay, so let's get into the week. So, firstly... Oh, actually, no, let's go through some fucking hot takes. What was I going to provide for this episode? There we go. Alright. So, my first hot take. I think that Danielle Hunter is a top 5 edge rusher in the NFL. So, he's in the top 5. Not 100% sure where he gets placed. There's 4 that I think can be interchangeable. I think one that can't be interchangeable is, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's up there with him. But, my initial list when I was thinking about this, I put that, it's Danielle Hunter, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Max Crosby. But, given the game that has, just happened, which was the Buffalo Bills at Houston Texans, where the Texans won 23-19, because I'm recording this on a Saturday and the game was played on a Thursday night/Friday morning. Yeah, Will Anderson Jr. is fucking looking like a beast, but it could be that thing that we've discussed a few times, because there's 2 edges coming at you like that, 2 of these all-star edges. Which one do you block? Which one do you prioritise? It could be that situation. So that's why I'm leaning more into Danielle Hunter. But he's the veteran who I feel like has been able to put up these numbers consistently throughout his seasons in the NFL. So that's my first take. My second take is that Myles Garrett is the very best defensive player in the league and will get Defensive Player of the Year this year. I don't think there's no argument here. He is a destructive wrecking ball of pure, aggression, force, nature. He destroys offensive lines. And, two games where he had 5 sacks. Obviously, they still didn't win. That's not on him. But, that's just insane. He is the best defensive player in the NFL right now. And then my third and final hot take is that I think, in regards to trade value, that the values of the Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams trades should have been swapped, because I think Quinnen Williams in that one game has proved that he was worth the 2 first rounders and a person. Rather than, 1 first rounder, 1 second rounder, and a person? Or maybe it was just 1 first rounder. I can't remember what they did. But out of the 2 of them, Sauce Gardner was, given the better value in the trade. He was, give him more shit to be like, we think he is this amount, and Quinnen wasn't there. But I think they should be swapped. Quinnen, to me, from what they've played since moving, which isn't a lot, I understand that. Quinnen is worth more, and if he would have been traded for that, I think he would have already backed up that he was worth it. So there we go for my hot takes. Right, let's get into Week 12. As I discussed, Buffalo Bills at Houston Texans was already on Thursday. The Texans ended up winning this 23-19. Josh Allen had a good game, statistically, in what he put up yard-wise, but yeah, the Bills' offense just was not firing. Josh Allen ended up throwing 2 picks. One of them was really weird. I've seen replays of it, the completely open tight end. This was the game-sealing interception. Completely open tight end, and then throws it about 6 yards behind the back. I know there was pressure in his face, but by the time he's released the ball, I'd say the defender was still a yard or 2 away from him. So I'm not sure what's going on there. James Cook had a great game. So yeah, he's back for my fantasy team. Woo woo! Nothing else to say about that. But moving on to the week to look forward to something. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Chicago Bears. I don't know what to make about this game. Good defense. Aaron Rodgers is currently out against, the defense being great, especially the front, putting pressure on the quarterback against Caleb Williams, who has seemed to calm down a bit, maybe got under the reins. But I feel like this is one of those games he's going to put under pressure too quick, and he's going to just go back to his old scrambly ways and lose a bunch of yards and get sacked a few times. Or maybe not sacked. I think he's actually still good at getting rid of the ball or escaping and just not meeting the yardage that he needs. So yeah, there's that. And then I don't know who is quarterbacking for the Steelers right now. Who have we got? Oh, Rodgers is currently questionable, so he might play in this game. Otherwise, it's going to be Mason Rudolph. And Chicago have 3 of the top 4 or 5 leading defensive players in interceptions. So who knows? This could be one of those games where the Steelers defense has to pull it out of the bag, and Chicago could get lucky or play well to Ben Johnson's scheme. Moving on, we've got the New England Patriots at the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know what to say to this other than the Patriots are going to win. Cincinnati have not activated Joe Burrow, so it's still under Flacco. Don't get me wrong, Flacco's been doing great, but also because of Spitgate, Jamar Chase is suspended for this one game, so they don't have their number 1 receiver. Defense is looking trash. Henderson's going to run through it, or Ramondre Stevenson's going to run through it. Don't know what now. Stevenson's back properly. Don't know what they're going to do. Probably they might go back to how they used to have it, or they might be like, look, we've seen how Henderson plays. He is fucking good. We should have trusted it from the start. Let's keep him out there. Who knows? Then we have the New York Giants at the Detroit Lions. I'm unsure of what to make of this game. New York Giants defense looks okay. Obviously, they're going to be under an interim coach for this. Don't know what to do with the offense. I think Jackson Dart is out for this game still, so obviously it'd be Jameis Winston heading up again. I can't remember who the Lions played last, but we saw whatever defense they played last. Was it Eagles? Maybe it'd been Commanders at the time. Just the way that they hid pressure, looked like they were going one side and then force it on the other, really seemed to throw Jared Goff off. So if the Giants have learned anything from these past games, maybe they'll be able to put some pressure on the Lions offense and stop it from firing, because this feels like it's going to be one of those games where Detroit put 40 to 50 points and the Giants have maybe 1 touchdown and 2 to 3 kicks, and that's kind of it, especially in their home turf as well. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. A prediction game and a divisional game. That's it. I was going to say conference, but that wasn't right. Packers should be the outright winners of this, but their offensive scheme and play calling is terrible. This defense for the Vikings is pretty good. It's whether the offense is going to fire or not. And I feel like the way that Micah Parsons, if he's able to get round and put pressure on. Not good for JJ. And then if they are scheming up 2 people for Micah, we've seen in multiple games, all it does is open up these other defenders who I think have been a bit overlooked because they didn't have these opportunities that Micah is now creating for them. So like the Rashan Gary types. So yeah, I think this should be the Packers all the way. Samuel has gone with the Vikings for this. I don't know why. I assume because he likes Justin Jefferson. Who knows? And he does like their defense. He did say at the start of the season if he was going to have a backup team or a secondary team that he would latch onto, it would be the Vikings this season. So maybe that's why he's backing his secondary boys. Then we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans. Again, Titans struggling this season. I don't know why they were under this illusion that they thought, oh, just this number 1 overall quarterback will fix everything. No, it won't. There's many, many issues hit that team. And, Seattle, even though they took a loss last week, still played great, lights out football. I think this is another one where they're just going to put a shitload of points on. I don't know what Tennessee can do to stop them, in all honesty. Then we go to the Indianapolis Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, can this be another team that Jonathan Taylor can run all over? Not 100% sure the way that the Chiefs are schemed up. It does look like this is going to be another one of those teams that not just like stops the Colts, but maybe like stops them in. Is like, you were frauds all along. Ha. So I don't know if that's going to happen. This feels like a multiple interception game for Daniel Jones, but hopefully they have the weapons good enough and a scheme good enough to get through this Chiefs defense. Then we have the New York Jets, who are starting Tyrod Taylor, as I said before, against the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens obviously have Lamar Jackson back, have Derrick Henry in the run game. New York Jets did give up their best run stopper and arguably their best pass defender. Yeah. So this feels like a field day for Lamar Jackson in both, his passing game, his legs, and handing it off to Henry to just run downfield. This again feels like an easy one. Then we have the Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders. Shedeur Sanders, first proper start in the NFL, going to the Raiders, who are a dumpster fire. But the way that this Browns line has had some issues, I'm feeling this is, and then like the way that Shedeur has been playing like early Caleb Williams, keeping the ball in his hand too long, and not being able to escape the second defensive pressure. I think Max Crosby's going to get a sack on him in this game, in all honesty. I think he's going to try and escape, trying to run away from Crosby, and Crosby's faster than you think. He's just going to get him. I also think this is going to be a Myles Garrett sack game because it's against the Las Vegas Raiders O-line, who not only were, when healthy, positioned different for some reason. I don't understand it. But then they've had so many knocks and injuries that, this is a severely weakened, mediocre line. So Myles Garrett is getting that sack. Count on it. Then we have... Oh, that was a prediction game, actually. I think, both of us have gone with the Browns for this one. I'm not going to lie. Myself, 100% just relying on the Browns defense. I think that's what's going to win this, if I'm completely honest. Then we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Arizona Cardinals. Weird one. Genuinely don't know what to say about this. So I'll leave it there. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, offensively on the Cowboy side, Dak has been slinging it, looking really good. Run game, I don't actually know. I was going to say it looks like it's died down, but it's probably died down because you're throwing it more. Like it's evened out to how I guess that they play. Defense not looking good in like pass defense, but the run stopping ability with Quinn and Williams there, I think looks pretty decent. So as long as the Eagles aren't sticking with this really bland and stupid play calling where they just try and run Saquon up the middle, because he's not that type of back. He's I think should be an outside zone back who patiently sidesteps and then gets those extra yards. The through the middle thing just isn't working. And I went back and looked when the Eagles played the Jets, I think first game of the season. Quinnen had a really good game against the Eagles line and stopping the run. So it's like kind of perfect timing that he's going to get to play them again and help them stop Saquon and the run game for the Eagles. Let's hope the Eagles have learnt. Maybe AJ Brown gets a catch. Maybe, just maybe. Then we have the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. So I don't know what to say about this game, I honestly don't. But it is a prediction game. I'm going to back my boys. So Sam said he pleads the fifth. I assume that means he's going for the Saints. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's like a cheaty way of saying once the game's played and whoever has won being like, yeah, that's what I meant by plead the fifth. Yeah, Kirk Cousins being in. No Drake London. So it's Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, Kadoril Hodge. On the receiving game, at least Bijan and Tyler Algier are still there. So I assume that this game is going to just go back to basics and almost be a 3 out of 4 run plays on offense for every down. I say 3 out of 4. The fourth one's usually a punt. So yeah, that sounds about right. Saints. Tyler Shook looked okay. But I can't tell if this was a good game for him or a bad game for the Panthers, who I don't know if they came in this expecting more and it's like they over-expected. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, the Saints felt like they took advantage of something with the Panthers. I'm hoping this is a game where we get Jalen Walker and James Pierce getting sacks, putting on pressures. And I did look up the stats. We don't have one of the best pass defenses now because of that Carolina game. I think we're like 8th, something like that. But our run defense is, I think it's bottom 5. So we really need to prioritise stopping Kamara. I think that's the big guy. And then if Taysom Hill comes on, we really need to watch him using his legs. Then we move on to the late game, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to call this one as the game of the week. Matt Stafford versus Baker Mayfield. Tampa Bay still have a lot of injuries. And the Los Angeles Rams look strong on both sides of the ball. And on special teams, as Sam has pointed out, maybe just to me, I can't remember if he's done it on the podcast, they have a really good kickoff kicker who can just, I don't know if it's the way that the ball spins in the air or the way it bounces, that they just don't know how it's going to land on where it's going to go, and it's hard to catch. So most people fumble, and it just gives the Rams extra opportunities. But yeah, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. I can't remember who. Is it Tyler Higbee? And Ferguson as their tight ends, yeah. They're looking good. They're looking amazing. They're looking like a team who could go back to the Super Bowl. Whereas Tampa Bay, yes, I think are an extremely strong team this year, but the injuries are the thing fucking them. I think this year, they are last year's Lions. Lions was all defense injuries. Tampa Bay, I think, is all over the shop, but mainly on offense. But I still expect a strong showing from Baker Mayfield and the receivers, Sean Tucker and Rashad White. getting some, good yardage and some good film, and giving the people what they want, some fucking entertainment. Then finally, the Monday night game, we have the Panthers at the 49ers. Panthers not looking great. I think there are some games where they're a bit more locked down. They're obviously schemed well. But the 49ers team, especially with Purdy being back, look like the way that they can mix and match things between, it was like CMC, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. Now I'm mainly seeing CMC and Kittle. I don't even know if Purcell's back. I had no idea what their receiving core is at the moment. Yeah, Juwan Jennings, that's Ricky Purcell, DeMarcus Robinson. Yeah, I think they're doing great now that Brock Purdy's back. Don't get me wrong, Matt Jones was honestly better than I thought he was going to be. But yeah, it's like that next level on offense with Brock Purdy there. Defense, I think the main person you have to control really is Tet McMillan. Because, if he's going to get the ball, it's always a big chunk of yardage. So he's the thing, I get if Rico Daldo's going to, slip and get a bunch of yards every now and again, but Tet is going to be one of those guys that, if he's getting the ball, every single time it's a big chunk of yardage. It's not 2-3 yards, it's going to be close to 8 every time. So he's the one that they really need to control. That being said, I do think this is going to be a 49ers win. And that rounds up the week. So I will just give you a quick rundown on our predictions. So the prediction games were the Vikings at Packers. I've gone with the Packers. Sam has gone with the Vikings. Then it's the Browns at the Raiders. We've both gone with the Browns. Then it was the Falcons at the Saints. I've backed my boys and gone with the Falcons. And Sam has pleaded the fifth. I assume that means Saints. Currently, season score-wise, last week I got the Steelers and the Bills game correct, but Sam got the Seahawks and Rams game correct. So we are now sitting at 20-16 on the season in favour of myself. And again, bye weeks, just as a reminder, it's the Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers, and Washington Commanders. I think that is all to discuss, but thank you very much for listening. As I said at the top of the podcast, at BritCaveBlitz on social medias. Myself is Sky Daddy Smit on Instagram and Instagram only. Samuel, I'm assuming this week would be I plead the fifth and everything I say is true and just and lawful and true. Jordan Love is not that guy. And then I would just say, BritCaveBlitz! Ah!